Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about strengthening mechanism. We will see several mechanism for strengthening the metals and materials. So what exactly required for making a material strengthen? There's nothing to restrict the moment of dislocation. Like in one of this video, we can see over here, there is a movement of the dislocation. In TAM, it was recorded at 400 degrees centigrade straining of 304 stainless steel. Here, these are the dislocation movement. It's somehow from some mechanism, if we can restrict this movement of dislocation, we can strengthen the material. For movement of dislocation stop or hindering, there are several mechanisms. We can discuss them one by one. For restriction of dislocation movement, there are four mechanisms. Like one is grain boundary strengthening, strain hardening, solid solution strengthening, precipitation and dispersion. Our main motive is to create a hindrance in the moment of dislocation that will provide the strength in the materials. So let's start everyone with more deep details, starting with grain boundary strengthening. In case of grain boundary strengthening, what exactly happens? Suppose one grain is there over here and another grain is over here on the screen. So what will happen while going from one grain to the another grain? Orientation change or dislocation slip that slip directions change. So as the it will change, what will happen? It will create more hurdle over here at a grain boundary. Now it will require more force or more stress to bypass or to break here dislocations and further movement of the dislocation. Suppose one dislocation start to come from over here. So what will happen? It on this screen we can see after going from one grain to another grain, there will the change in the orientation due to which it required more stress for overcome that orientation change. So what we can do, we can increase the number of grain boundaries. How we can increase the number of grain boundaries? By decreasing the grain size. By decreasing the grain size, what will happen? That number of hindrance will be created more by the increasing number of grain boundaries. So it is understandable. Next, if the angle boundaries are high angle, it will be more hinder for the dislocation to move. Suppose one is a low angle grain boundary, one is a high grain angle boundaries. Comparative to low angle grain boundaries, high angle grain boundaries are more better option for dislocation movement restrictions. So it also equate by Hall patch equation, that is sigma y is equal to sigma naught plus k divided by root d, where sigma y is equal to yield strength and d is the diameter, that is average diameter of grain, and tau naught and k specifically when we talk about tau naught, it is the shear stress required for a crystal that is without grain boundary to move the dislocation, and k for the dislocations to break or to overcome to the grain boundary, that stress required, it is the k, that is vary from material to material, or specifically we say about metal to metal, it vary, it has some different value. Further we will see strain hardening. In case of strain hardening, what exactly we do, let's try to understand the mechanism. What happen, we do some cold working, okay, like here cold rolling is done and extrusion in this figure you can see. So what is happening after doing cold rolling or extrusion? the dislocation density is increasing. Due to increasing in the dislocation density, what is happening? We will understand from this diagram. So what exactly is happening? Initially, our stress diagram, this is our elastic point. From here, yielding start, or sometimes we say it is plastic point. Generally, yielding point come after 0.02 when strain occur, percentage of strain occur. So let's consider it is a elastic point, and from here yielding started. So what will happen initially when we will go up to this point, that is a 3. So what will happen? Here the number of dislocation density will increase, due to which further when we start to apply load, what will happen? Our elastic point or will end up to here, or we can say up to 3. From 3 yielding will start from. So overall what does change occur? That our yielding point change from point 2 to the point 3 due to dislocation density increase. So what now we require? Now dislocations movement will be hindered. Now dislocations require more stress to put on dislocation density to overcome that hurdle. So which will create itself a strength in the material. The basic equation for strain hardening, that is tau equal to tau naught plus A by rho. And tau is the shear stress required to move dislocations, and tau naught is shear stress required to move dislocation in well annealed crystal, and A is constant, and dislocation density rho, and A is constant, which is that is G, and B constant, and G is the, we can say, shear modulus, and B is the Berger vector. Further, we will see is solid solution strengthening. So in case of solid solution strengthening, what happens? Generally, suppose this is a matrix of some atom having the same size. So when the dislocation start to move, it will create no stress. The movement of dislocation will be very small. But what if we create some stress or strain in the moment of the dislocations? So how can we create that hindrance? By adding some solute atom or solvent atom. So what happened after putting a solid atom? So due to solute atom, here the tensile stress field is generated, and already while moving the dislocation, some stress field already generated by the dislocation. When both will meet, there will be like collision of both the stress. Now it require more stress by this dislocation to overcome this strain field effect, or strain field effect created by solute atom. So what exactly happening? We are adding some solute atom, either that is smaller size or larger size. In case of smaller size is creating tensile strain field, and in case of if the solute atom size is bigger, it is creating compressive strain field, due to which the same thing is happening. Both will interact over here, stress generated by dislocations and solute atom, and now it required much stress to overcome this strain field effect and move the dislocations forward further. Okay, so this concept is clear. Now further we will go. Means what exactly we have to do? Means what to the relation overcome here? Is more the smaller the size of the solute atom, or larger the more the larger the size of the solute atom, more will the stress field or strain field generated due to these atoms in the metal matrix or in a matrix, and due to that more we will find the material to be strengthened. Generally we got strength, but somewhere we lose the ductility from this process. Now precipitation strengthening. And here we will cover dispersed solids or dispersion strengthening as well. We will see the difference. So in case of precipitation hardening, what happened? Let's try to understand. In case of precipitation strengthening, there the suppose one metal matrix is there, or some there we have a particular alloy. When we put one element in a particular pure metal, there is a solubility of that atom or that metal in pure metal at room temperature. But if we increase that solubility, while for increasing that solubility, we have to increase the temperature. Like here is the example over here given. Aluminium at room temperature having no solubility with when we develop copper. But when we increase the temperature, that is around 550, solubility increase. Here we can see about around it is 4 to 5% it is increased. So we have added that 4 to 5% weight percentage of copper in aluminium. So what will happen? Now it will be super saturation of the alloy. If something is beyond solubility, we add it is super saturation. While cooling down, it will be a super saturation. Suppose here it is a super saturation, then what will happen? While here it is super saturation, now it is unstable. With time, it will start to get stable. Okay, so it will why it come while quenching from point 1 to from point 2, there is a locking of this precipitate, and while aging, we do aging to, to unlock that precipitate faster in the metal matrix. Secondly, what we can say like it is like from 2 to 3 processes unlocking the precipitation, or it is a point 2 is unstable and it is we make stable it, or it you can say it is meta stable, and third point is the stable, and at third point there uh, is a precipitate formation occur in the metal matrix. So concept is clear. Now we will see some of more information. What we study about formation of formed by super saturation of alloy, and small precipitate dispersed throughout after while aging we do, and it is a age hardening process completely. Or now what coherent or semi-coherent in nature? Generally, what happen? Coherent, the formation of precipitate either can be coherent or semi-coherent with the metal matrix. So if the size of the precipitate formation is up to 50 angstrom, it is termed as a coherent. And if it's more than 100 angstrom up to 1000, it is termed as a semi-coherent in nature. So now we will discuss dispersoids, and we will see what is the difference with precipitations and dispersoid strengthening. So in case of precipitation, they go coarser at higher temperature. But when we put dispersoid, what is dispersoid? We are introducing some oxides. Actually, in case of precipitates, it is from the same matrix which we are preparing. But in case of dispersoid, we are putting some dispersoids like oxides, like alumina, like yttria, like zirconia, and other for creating the hindrance of the dislocation movement. So these are incoherent with the nature. Dispersoids are incoherent with the nature, but they are stable at the high temperature compared to precipitates. And we will see interaction of the dislocation with precipitates. What exactly happen when movement of the dislocation occur? It if it is coherent in nature, means if the size is smaller, then it will cut the precipitate. Like in this pictorial view, we can see, and if the precipitate is coarser and it is semi-coherent, we can say it is semi-coherent in nature, then dislocation will make a loop around that. Actually, it is a little bit strengthened from that. So if it will not able to cut the precipitate, so it will start to make a loop. Initially, it will not able to pass. Suppose we now apply more stress, then it will start to move, make a loop around that, and bypass through that dislocation. So somewhere this formation of the precipitates or dispersoids, creating a hurdle to the movement of the dislocation, due to which we got material to be very strengthened. Thank you. Thank you for listening.